Let me start with something that might annoy you. Resolutions are overrated. Not kind of flawed, not well intentioned but imperfect, overrated. And not because people don't want change, people want change desperately. They just keep choosing the worst possible way to pursue it. Every January, the same ritual pays out. New year, new notebook, new shoes, new vows made with the emotional maturity of a drunk philosopher at 2 a.m. This is the year I finally lose the weight, make the money, get disciplined, become consistent, fix everything that's been broken since 2014, and then predictably, it collapses. Not because the goal was too hard, but because the structure underneath it was non existent. Goals without identity are cosplay. You're not changing who you are, you're pretending to be someone else for the 10 weeks and then hoping it sticks, and it usually doesn't. The uncomfortable truth behind all this is that goals are external, identity is internal. A goal says, I want to achieve X. Identity says, this is how I operate. When those two aren't aligned, identity wins every single time. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fail to the level of your systems, habits, and self concept. Because that's not motivational poster nonsense, that's basic psychology. Your brain is a pattern reinforcing machine. It protects consistency, not aspiration. So when you set a resolution that conflicts with how you actually live, your brain treats it like a threat. And it responds by doing what it always does. It will rationalize, delay, negotiate, and self-sabotage politely. Not dramatically, quietly. And that's why most resolutions don't fall with fireworks, they fade away. You're going to miss a workout, then you're going to have a late night. I'll start again Monday, and suddenly it's March and you're confused how nothing ever changed. Most resolutions fail also because they're arbitrary. Random numbers, random timelines, random rules posted in thin air. I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Well, why 30? Why not 27? Why 19? Why now? I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. Why? What happens at 5 that doesn't happen at 6 or even at 4 a.m.? I'm going to grind harder. Define harder. For how long? At what cost? Those goals aren't rooted in values. They're rooted in vibes. And vibes don't survive friction. So when life pushes back, and it'll punch you full fuss in the face, an arbitrary goal has no defense against it. There's no reason to protect it, no identity cost to abandon it. So you drop it without noticing. So here's the shift you really need to get going. So you need to stop asking, what do I want to achieve? And start asking, how do I choose to live? That question will change everything. Because now you're not chasing outcomes, you're defining standards. And standards don't require motivation, they require enforcement. And this is where deliberate execution comes in. Not as a slogan, as a rule set. Deliberate execution. Deliberate execution means you don't drift, you decide. You don't wait to feel ready, you move when it is ready. You don't ask, what do I want to feel like doing today? You ask, what does this version of me do next? That's identity-based living. Every decision you make is filtered through something. Most people just don't know what it is. Mood, fear, convenience, dopamine, social approval. And that's why their lives feel reactive. If you want to change your trajectory, you need a single governing statement. Something short, sharp, unforgiving, not inspirational, operational. Something that can apply to every aspect of your life. Your training, your work, sleep, food, money, relationships, time, boundaries. One sentence that asks the same question every time. So mine for 2026 is simple. Deliberate execution. That's it. When a decision shows up, I don't ask if it's exciting. I ask if it's deliberate. I don't ask if I feel like it. I ask if I'm executing what I already chose. That one phrase eliminates debate, and that's the point. So before we go any further, I want to kill a myth while we're here. Willpower is not a plan. Willpower is what you use when you don't have anything prepared. It's emergency fuel, not power source. If your entire year depends on trying harder, you already lost. Deliberate execution removes the need for willpower by front-loading decisions. You decide once, then you decide and execute repeatedly. No daily negotiations, no emotional court hearings, no, but today was different. Different days don't get different rules. And that ends up being your discipline. None of this is new. The Stoics were talking about this thousands of years ago. They didn't obsess over outcomes, they obsessed over conduct. Epictetus didn't say, set ambitious quarterly goals. He said, concern yourself with what is within your control. What is your control? Your actions, your standards, your response. Not your results, not your timelines, not luck. Deliberate execution is stoicism without the toga. You control the inputs. You let the outputs sort themselves out. Even modern psychology will back this up. Behavior change sticks when it's tied to your identity. I'm trying to run more, fails. I'm someone who trains even when it's inconvenient, sticks. Why? Because identity creates cognitive dissonance when you violate it. Missing a workout hurts more when it contradicts who you believe you are. That discomfort becomes self-correcting. Motivation fades, identity enforces. But let's be clear about all this. Deliberate execution does not mean flawless execution. You will miss days. You will screw up. You will make suboptimal decisions. And that is being human. The difference is this. You don't spiral, you don't quit, you don't rewrite your identity because of one bad data point. You correct and continue. Execution is about trend and not streaks. Resolutions fail because they're outcome focused, not identity driven. They rely on motivation, not systems. They're arbitrary, not value based. They invite negotiation instead of enforcement. Deliberate execution fixes all that. Now, I said this can be applied to everything. Look at your training. You won't be chasing PRs daily. You execute stressors deliberately. For your work, you don't wait for inspiration. You show up and ship. For your health, you don't diet emotionally. You eat according to standards. And for your time, you don't fill it. You allocate it. And for your relationships, you don't people please. You act in alignment. And that ends up being your sovereignty over your own life. So here's the question that's going to matter. Not what do I want to accomplish this year, but who do I choose to be repeatedly under pressure? Because that person determines everything else. Your statement is your compass. Mine is deliberate execution. Make your own. Not something cute, not something trendy, something that makes excuses uncomfortable. Choose how you live, then enforce it. That's how years stop repeating themselves.